Please rise. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending. So the first item on the agenda, I just want to make sure I understood this. We did not have officer elections last month, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
They had done them in December, but according to our
Officer elections?
maybe.
No, we
Okay.
did not have officer elections in December.
Yeah, they need to be done
Yeah.
at the first meeting.
So anyhow, since that did not occur, we will go ahead and do that here as the first item agenda. You saw him pull up?
Yeah.
He just put up.
Okay, all right. Well, anyhow, officer elections, we have had traditionally in the past at least a president and vice president. At times we have had a secretary, although we don't currently have one. So the first office that we'll have is the president for the park board of Leo-Cedarville. The way we'll do this is we'll open up a round of nominations. Anyone is free to nominate anyone, including themselves. And once all the nominations are concluded, as the acting president, I will ask if there are any further nominations. We will close the nominations and then we'll proceed to vote. And then we'll do the same thing for the vice president. So are there any questions as to the process?
No.
Okay, so be it. We'll open the floor for nominations for the office of president.
I nominate Dirk.
Okay,
Second.
I accept that nomination, thank you. Are there any further nominations? Okay, hearing none, we will close the nomination for president. All those in favor of Dirk Schmidt as the park board president for 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, the next office we have is for vice president. And we will open the floor for nominations for vice president for 2025.
I nominate David Paul.
Oh, jeez. I got here just in time.
Do you accept nomination, David?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will go ahead and proceed to the vote. All those in favor of David as the vice president for 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Guess I can't vote for myself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely can vote for yourself. And I saw the hand raised, we'll count that. Okay. Congratulations, David. Vice
whole
President,
life
you did
goal.
arrive just in time.
It's my life goal.
All right, next item on the agenda, minutes from the January 2025 meeting. I can't recall, at least I looked and maybe I missed it, but I don't know that I'd seen these before tonight, but given that I wasn't present, I can't attest to them one way or the other. So the minutes that you all have before you, are there any corrections or additions needed?
The plastic one will have to come to David for his signature.
Okay,
You should have it right in front of you.
all right.
And it, down at the bottom, it has his name. Yep.
Yeah.
What does WEBO mean? In the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph. That fee is $826 a year, WEBO.
I'm not sure. We currently are paying.
So the bow is extra.
There should be no bow in there. I will cross that out.
Okay.
There. Thank you, David, for the correction.
Can I get a copy then, Jana? I only had the agenda and the plastic one then. If you could pass that down, that'd be great. Thank you.
That's bowless.
Okay.
Yeah. No bow.
Okay. Are there any other corrections or revisions to the minutes?
I make a motion we accept the minutes as modified.
Very well. Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Okay, treasurer's report, of which we have the payroll vouchers and expense vouchers, which are over there. So we'll go ahead and pass them around, that way everyone has an opportunity to look at them while we're doing our business, and then we'll circle back to a vote, and I will make sure to sign it this month, if I approve them, Angela. While we're on the treasurer's report, Angela, do you have anything else for the board?
Nope, I'm not done with the AFRs yet, so once I do, I'll have all the year numbers for everybody. So.
Okay. Very good.
Oh, but I guess I could tell you that if you have a moment in your time coming up, you guys all need to email your senators, representatives for the area, Tyler Hudson. This Senate bill number 1 that's being passed, we are looking at, as a town alone, taking nearly a $200,000 hit on our property taxes, which includes most of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the first year. So ultimately, by year 3, we will be down just over $300,000. So that's not just us. I mean, this is a statewide thing that they're looking at doing with absolutely no plan for replacement of revenue.
Well, it's just,
Something to
it's
think
just
about.
cost cutting stuff?
I'm sorry?
Is it just cost cutting stuff?
It's,
Property tax.
yeah, it's property taxes, capping them at 3%, which is keeping anybody from getting a higher revenue from it. So like Allen County alone is gonna be taking, what did I tell you, without trying to scramble through all this?
It's a
It
significant
was
number.
huge, yeah. Yeah, Allen County is 22 million by year 3.
Wow.
And this is affecting schools, this is affecting fire districts, this is affecting townships, this is affecting everybody.
Yes.
So meaning that the property tax is gonna be lower, or just part of the property tax is not gonna go to the town and to the
Property
county?
taxes are gonna be capped, so they're gonna be lower for the residents, which is a great thing, but there's no revenue replacement for all of the municipalities, the districts, the schools, everybody that was receiving that money. And we based our budgets off of what we've always received. So
This
come
comes
next year,
since,
we'd
from
reduce
Braun going in, is that where it started, or?
No, this was
Before
not,
that.
this was, I'm sorry, this is Braun, I thought you said Braun, but
No,
this is
Braun.
Braun, yeah,
Yeah.
this was his one major, I'm gonna drop property tax campaign slogans, so. Just something to keep in mind going through the rest of this year, because, there's some park stuff we were talking about today that Tyler's gonna get to later that is probably gonna be affected by it.
It also contains
And I
some,
would count that some version of this bill is gonna make it through.
Right,
So
and
whether
the
Some
it's,
version,
yeah.
right.
some version, whether it's the full amount that we're seeing right now or a lesser version, there will be tightening of the belts next year.
Yeah, no, they definitely think it's gonna pass. There's an amended version that's supposed to come out right before, it gets presented on the House on the floor tomorrow, but they are not presenting.
So it's not on the floor tomorrow? Dang it, I wish I would've noticed, I saw Tyler yesterday.
I think, I don't know.
Did you call Tyler? You
I've
know.
been in conversation with him today, yes. But if you guys could all, the more people that send an email, at least puts doubt.
I'll call him.
Yeah.
Just saying that we don't want this to go through, or what?
as proposed.
As
I don't mind
proposed.
it. I think it's a great idea to cap it at a certain point, but there's gotta be some type of replacement, a revenue replacement somehow.
Or cost cutting measures.
Right, we're different cost
Like take
measures.
crap out or whatever.
So right now, like, basically clerk treasurer, state writers, just blowing up some of your emails, telling them to put a pause on it, not that we think we'll need to have stuff we're doing.
Have you sent us, I mean, I don't know if I have his email, but.
When I email it later, I have it in there, because they sent us a list of all
You
those.
can- it's-
senators
it's
to
public,
send it to.
though.
I
You can just
send
go
it to
on.
you.
Just Google him and try and get.
Who is
find
it? One more time.
Tyler Johnson.
it. Tyler Johnson.
He's a senator,
And he's a Leo guy.
so yeah.
So opposing bill for property tax?
Property tax caps. So the
Okay.
whole concept is probably needs to happen in some way, shape, or form, but don't cut it till you have a plan to replace it, right? So
Okay.
till you have a game plan.
So just tell them, okay.
And how much how much does it affect?
So between, what was it, 180 and 300,000?
185,000 just in
Proposed
2026,
bill
and
until
by
you have
2028, it'll be over
plan
600,000.
and
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, where would you make that up from then?
That's a great question.
Other states use different sources, so maybe we get a different amount of income tax or a different amount of, whatever it is, whether it's road tax or sales tax or,
But that's what they have
yeah,
it
so
worked
like
out.
Florida, I don't think has any property taxes, but they get a large,
They get a large alcohol and tobacco.
alcohol, tobacco, and also, the visitor tourism tax.
And that's what needs to be in the bill then.
Yeah,
is how-
so there
how
needs
they
to be some way to
replace
replace this or
Some
else.
place, but there isn't.
Right,
No.
right now it's just a
No,
cut.
it's just a cut.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just wanna make sure I
What's the
email
state,
that.
what's the Senate? Does anybody know the numbers? What's the
Senate
majority?
bill number 1.
No, what's the majority?
Oh, it's Republican.
I don't know.
What do you mean as far as?
As far as Republican versus Democrat?
I'm sure it's Republican.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's heavy Republican. It's House Bill number 1.
Yeah,
Senate bill.
Senate bill.
Senate bill
ST,
number 1.
Yeah. STB 1. 01, I think is actually the way they have it listed.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can figure out one of the.
Okay,
that's where I need it. That
Thank
was
you.
all.
yes. Okay. All right, everyone's had a chance to look at the vouchers. Is that you? So we'll start with the payroll vouchers first, in the amount of $1,929.31. Are there any questions about any? I see you all already signed them already, so we'll go ahead and do this by a roll call vote as far as adopting this. So for the payroll vouchers, $1,929.31. We'll go to Amy first. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then we'll go to Cindy next.
Yes.
Very well. And David.
Yes.
And Dirk is also a yes.
Why do we need to vote if we're signing that? Yep.
It has to be
Has to
stated
be
in public.
documented.
It has to be stated as, okay.
Yep.
Just wondered.
So yeah, we used to just
Seems kinda,
sign them as we went around the leisure, but what, 3 months ago,
Right.
2 months ago?
yeah, that's when
It is
Tyler
required.
November, we
to-
started doing a roll call
Roll
vote.
call.
And in December, I try to wait until after we've officially voted on it. I forgot to sign it, so I have to hold on to them now to make sure I sign it.
Yeah.
All right. The actually, shucks.
I got it.
I let it get past me. Did I already sign that
Yeah,
one?
you did.
Okay.
There's 4 on there.
You did.
For the vote. Oh, well.
Baby brain.
All right, we have the expenses vouchers next in the amount of $2,519.66. If there are no questions, we'll go ahead and proceed to the roll call vote for that. Amy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and Dirk is also a yes. Satisfactory? Okay. Gotta make sure I dot those i's and cross those t's. Next on the agenda, the Park Administrator's Report. Janet.
Okay, I was in contact with Rob Jackson from Jackson Pet Management, and he sent me the information from the label off of the chemical that they spray at Cedarville. And I gave that to Tyler, who you know is certified, and he did some research on it, and he reviewed it, and he said that it's got your basic standard warnings, but we want to make sure that any outside applications are flagged, and no rain is rain is forecasted for 24 hours. Inside product is, I can't read your writing,
Well, I wrote that like many hours ago.
Inside product is,
Sorry.
it's a VER vert, I don't know what that word is. What's that word? Inside
Oh.
product is,
It's not, it doesn't, it's vertebrate neutral, so it
oh,
doesn't
right,
affect
okay. All right.
us as humans. So it is,
Or
it
pets,
will affect
sure.
invertebrates, but not.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's like literally right off the label.
So then I called back to pest management and they said, yes, we do understand that we do look at the forecast, and anytime we spray outside, we make sure that there's a rain forecast within at least 24 to 48 hours, so.
The biggest thing is to make sure they flag the zone when they spray.
That's what I was
don't
just
know if
about to
they have
ask.
been doing that, so that is standard Indiana procedure as part of the spray package. So just make sure that they start using flags to let people know that they have sprayed.
What's the resting time? We're
Typically,
talking 15 minutes or something?
so once dry, most of these are inactive or
Okay.
inert. These products, because what they are is they're made to take, so as an ant or something like that would pass through it, it's take it back to the nest. So they do have some residual as far as invertebrates go, but as far as humans go, as long as it's not raining, it's dry, it's neutral dry. So, I mean, you're probably talking 15 minutes the way they're spraying it, maybe. But I think it's required to be flagged 24 hours for 24 hours post-spray. So,
Is it possible to have them do it like morning?
well, so it just depends on what the weather is. So like some of these things you wanna spray in the afternoon because it's gonna rapidly
It'll
dry. Yeah, so if you get a
Morning
morning that
dew.
has a heavy dew or something like that, you don't want them out there spraying, that's gonna take way too long, and it's gonna expose people for too long. So your best bet is, I mean, obviously, these guys know what they're doing, they're licensed, they've bought it in the state of Indiana, so, you know, as long as we're in communication with them, we know when they're coming, we can make sure that we post it, people know what's going on, and we should be fine. So, I compared it to products that I've used for many, many years, and as long as you use them in accordance to warning on the label, I've never had an issue.
Okay. So, I see the January meeting minutes, we did already approve the contract, so it'd just be a matter of just following Jackson Pest Management and make sure that, yeah, we're flagging the area. Perfect. Any other questions on that subject? All right, next. Nothing else from the administrator's report?
No, that was the only thing
Okay.
that you asked me to do that I actually went and did. There's really been nothing else going on. Everything that I was gonna talk to you about, Tyler wants to talk to you about.
Perfect. All right, Tyler,
What's the first one on the list?
Imagination Station.
So, we were down at Imagination Station, last week, we hired a new maintenance employee, Brian Kahn, I don't know if you guys have seen him running around or not. But as part of his grand tour of everything we own and everything we have, we went down and walked Imagination Station. I'm not sure if you guys have been down there recently or looked at it recently, it's rough. And I'm being generous when I say rough.
Items.
Meaning what?
Well, so like there's the suspension bridge, for example. You know, it's supposed to be movable as
Yeah.
you're walking across it, and it's got one spot where it's sagged down, and so it basically doesn't move.
So to even go farther than that, if you actually go up to the wood beams and you run your hand down them, they're,
Spinners.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it needs to be stained, it needs to be sealed, the peaks need to be painted.
Power washed?
Yeah, so they power washed it last year, before we went into the winter, and that's probably what's leading to some of our deterioration. They pulled some of that out of it, going into winter, and it didn't get sealed up in time. So my recommendation, I talked to Brian at length. Obviously, he's pretty new to the gig here. I think we're gonna have to go out, find somebody who can come in and really seal it up. And probably, my guess is over the next couple of years, if we're gonna keep that park for any type of longevity, it's gonna have to be done probably at least once a year for the next several years. And then we can probably go out to like an every 3-year maintenance, contract on that. So,
Do we need to replace the boards or just?
yeah, so there's boards that will need to be replaced. I think our maintenance can help through some of that. But when it actually comes to the pressure washing and the sealing, we're talking days and days and days of work for people who know what they're doing. So if we want any
Wouldn't
kind
want
of,
volunteers.
no, and that's the thing is you can do volunteers, but you're not gonna end up with a good quality of product. We want something that's gonna be, we know is gonna be
Sustainable.
sealed and
The last time we had a volunteer effort for that, it was just painting the tops.
Right.
And that was, several years ago. We had a bunch of I can't remember if it was National Honor Society or one of the service groups.
What about like a volunteer day to do the rebuild before they do the power?
you could do something like that,
You
yes.
could have like a work day?
Yeah, you could have a work day where they come in,
Because
they
there's a
rebuild something.
lot of parents that use that.
There are, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. The problem is going to be down there and creating that list and making sure it's that we have the skill sets on site.
Somebody's in charge,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. So, I mean, it's gonna be saws, it's gonna be that kind of stuff. I don't necessarily have a problem doing that, getting that group set up or whatever we need to do, but It's gonna take some management skills, and some maintenance know-how.
Do you advertise for it then to take bids?
Yeah, so we will. So our thought process is we'll reach out to probably 3 or 4 companies, set an RFQ up kind of thing where they all have the same set of data.
Yeah.
And then we'll send it out and let them guys, see if they want to bid on it. There's plenty of companies here in Fort Wayne, a couple out of Grayville, so I mean, we can get some decent bids on it, but.
I'm assuming it's the same as the school, but there's the different cash thresholds.
Right.
So if it's under $1,500, we don't have to have more than one quote. Correct, Angela?
It's under 5,000.
5,000, okay.
Yes.
Between 5,000 and I think is 50,
25.
it's gone up. They've gone up then. So between 5,000 and 25,000, we just have to have at least 3 quotes. If it's above 25,000, then we actually have to put it out to a bid,
Okay.
So
as opposed to just soliciting quotes.
The whole intent would be for the, request for proposal would be that way. Everybody receives the same data, so
Yep.
when we meet on site, we don't tell you one thing, him one thing,
Right.
So at least we have the same talking points with everybody. I would guess it's probably gonna be in that $15,000 to $20,000 range. I'm just guessing.
Really?
It's a lot of
Surface area.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
surface area and a lot of work and a lot of product.
All right.
My guess is they'll probably come in, we'll have to shut it down into by section of the whole thing, spray it, and then they'll probably back roll it if I had to guess. I don't know.
So what months do you have to wait? April?
Well,
May,
they get probably the end of May, beginning of June, unfortunately. You gotta get into a dry
That's
section.
soon, yeah.
Well, and also too, your
It
stains,
has to be above 56 degrees or so.
somewhere in that range as far as for minimal
Right.
application, but the warmer it is, the quicker dry time you get for
Right,
it
of
too,
course.
so.
I could organize sometime in the spring, an April workday with some
Right.
skilled guys, and try to get the stuff done that needs to be done.
I was gonna ask you, David, if we wanted to go over there with Brian and just,
Yeah.
put together a list of
Right.
everything we can find.
Cause we gotta redo the tree house too, so.
Right.
I was gonna do that in April anyway, we could have a whole work day. I might even get my Amish crew out there, and they're really good.
Yeah, we just need, like I said, we need to make sure we go through, figure out what it needs, and then do it in one full swoop. My fear is that if we don't get it sealed up well now, that probably in the next 2 to 3 years, we're gonna be looking at replacing most of that equipment. And your cost goes from, say, 25,000 max to probably
Right.
225 or 300,000 to get the same kind of playground. So,
Is there a concern with, even though they'd be skilled, people doing it, if they volunteer, if something would go wrong and a child would get hurt and be able to sue?
so
You're not
I
gonna have
would,
kids out there, it'd be adults only.
No, but
I mean, like, if you have
Well,
volunteers replacing
No,
wood and things like
the
that.
volunteers built the thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would do is there is
I
a
mean,
local,
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say that depends on the specific element and
Yeah.
what
Well,
needs to be.
right.
So,
you don't
this
want
is
me
a
out there
critical
doing
beam going across here, okay,
But
maybe
they
you
have the zip
wanna,
line out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just know that
So-
with the schools and
Right, right.
lawsuits over playgrounds.
My understanding is that there's a local gentleman that is certified playground inspector, so my thought process is we'd have them come in, do their
Okay.
work, and then we'd reach out to him and have him come in. It's one of my goals eventually is to become a certified playground inspector. I'm just not there yet. So, if that happens, then our life becomes a lot easier as a town.
Yeah.
Could you do ours though?
Yes, I
Without
can.
conflict? Oh, that's good.
Yep, I can do, City of Fort Wayne has several. In fact, they're one of them that's been out before to inspect ours. So yes,
I
you
would
can.
say get that list together and I can try to get, I think I can get probably 10 to 20
Yeah.
guys out there, and, Saturday, do it nice.
you wanna be there when the list gets created?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
we can
like
talk
I
about
said, we
it.
just did a cursory walkthrough, high level.
Well, there's a lot.
There is a lot.
There is a lot.
Yeah. So, I just want to put that in front of you so you guys know that we're going to have to take action. We're going to take action fairly quickly. So,
Is there money in the budget then? Or like a $15,000?
there's money in a budget.
We didn't budget for it this year, but it
No.
doesn't mean I can't ask for an additional appropriation to
Right.
spend for it. So, I mean, there is some, we're just gonna have to shift money around.
Okay. Like you said, so many kids use that. you-
Right.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. So popular.
A lot of people come from Fort Wayne to use it too.
Yes. It is it's the flow over from some of the Fort Wayne parks.
Right.
Yeah.
get used there a lot, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'll just flow down into the next one, the Riverside Gardens Pond. Was one of the things that we were out there for illuminating Leo this past year, got to looking at it. There's cattails growing in it, which are considered invasive species now. This summer we had a fair amount of, or past summer we had a fair amount of algae growing on it, even with the aerator in it. And then we have that goose deterrent around the outside edge, which is more of a weeds now. I want to encourage you guys. I think we're past the point of encouragement. We need to secure quotes to maintain that goose deterrent, maintain those wetland areas, and then probably either get a hold of Jones Fish.
That's who was doing it.
That's who was doing the fountain, right?
Yes.
And then Pond Champs or Aquatic Management or somebody along those lines to make sure that our aquatic are taken care of well. The biggest reason is even though I can go get an endorsement from my chemical license to maintain ponds, and it's really just a test, that runs off into the river. I don't know that we want that liability within the town, that I'm spraying a pond that runs into the river. It's all well and good until something pops up dead downstream, right, and it's coming back to us.
Right.
So,
Did we ever put any grass carp in there or anything like that?
I don't know what's in there, Dave, to be honest.
But
I just
they
know
do
that
work.
that we need to figure out a plan, and if we stay on top of it, we use almost no chemicals if we do it right. If we don't stay on top of it, we end up with a mosquito breeding mess and cattails all the way around it. And I don't think that's the look we want along Grable Road.
Is it a legal retention pond as part of the master plan of the town?
It is a required retention pond due to the
Lazy
splash
River
pad.
splash pad.
Yeah.
So
So
we
that
can't fill it in.
we can't fill it in. It has so that splash pad goes into there first, sits for so long, and then discharges. Is my understanding. I've never seen the actual.
If it reaches a point where it needs to
Discharge,
outflow, actually.
right.
Yeah.
So my question is though, is if you go look at it right now, it is probably a foot or so below where it normally pools at during the summer months with the splash pad running. So I don't know if we have backed up drains. I don't know, like, why is that? Because almost within a week of the splash pad shutting down, it drops down well, probably a foot or more. So
Something's
and
leaking.
well, it's not leaking. I think that the overflow may be grown in. I don't know. I've never been over there to check it. Again, this is my first month in the job, so I need to probably get over there this summer or the spring and figure out what's going on. But I don't know why it drops so low in volume, but it doesn't stay. If you have a good system, an overflow system, that overflow system working properly should be able to maintain a decent level of pond. And I'm not seeing that. So I don't know how it was built. Dirk, you may have better insight into that. That was before my
That
time.
was pretty huge.
It was basically built when
Yeah.
I came on the park board in 2014, 2013,
Yeah.
man, forever ago. We were going through like the final acceptance on it at that point. So
So you've been on the park board 10 years?
minus the
2 years.
8 months I
8
was
months,
off
year,
or something
yeah.
like that,
Wow.
a year or whatever it was.
We had a nice contract with Heartland, if you
I was
remember
just
that.
about to ask when the last time we had them out was.
We canceled it last year because we didn't think we needed any more because it was working so well, but I'd like to reach out to them. Tyler mentioned giving them a call and finding out.
Did we also cancel it because we thought we were at a place with staff, that staff could also maintain it in a manner consistent to what Heartland was, but we've had so much turnover now with staff.
So to be honest, I would never put my mate. If I'm not willing to go do it with my license,
Right.
I would never put my maintenance guy in that position.
Right.
Not on the spraying of chemicals,
Right.
but the picking of like cattails and
Yeah.
other select weeds. Because I know there was one point when we started using Heartland was staff at the time was like they're picking things that they think are weeds, but they're actually things that were supposed to be there in the goose deterrent.
Right.
And
If there was cattails all the way around, would that be a goose deterrent? No, they'd fly in.
So the goose turns sage grasses and such like that. There's what are they, sawtooth grasses, and there's a whole list of things. Cattails. I'm surprised the city of Fort Wayne hasn't said anything about cattails and the runoff of that into their rivers, because cattails are not a fan.
Well, if you've been north of Leo.
I'm just telling you, cattails are not a
they're
fan of the city.
everywhere.
So
I mean, that whole
Right.
swamp area on the other side, right on the other side
Right.
of town, is
Yeah.
covered with cattail.
But for the most part, if they have the option of not allowing extra seed bed coming in, they'll tell you to clean it up. So, at least that's been my experience with them.
I would just think that you could let that thing go to a natural state like a wetland.
But then you got a mosquito hole. So that's the problem, is you gotta be careful. So then we'd be treating for mosquitoes, which would be far worse than just removing the cattails. So like I said, you can jump on it now with the right products.
Now, what kind of issues do cattails create?
They're just invasive. They literally will take
Over the pond?
Yeah, I mean, you can start with a clump this big, and within a year, it'll be the size of this desk. I mean, it's just, that's how aggressive they are. The way in which they breed and spread.
Well, that whole top is all seeds.
Yeah.
Little tiny seeds.
But the problem is they also run tubers out the bottom too that will spread too. So not only do you get seed transfer, you get root transfer.
Sure. Would you like me to reach out to Heartland this week and see what it would cost to continue the contract that we had with them before about coming in?
I
Just
would,
give it-
yes.
have it
I
back.
want to say it was something along like $400 a treatment, and we had it done bi-monthly or quarterly, something like that.
I think the most we ever paid them was $1,500.
Yeah,
That's
A year.
a year.
a year,
And
yeah.
that was for maintaining all, because there was another detached one as well.
The
as
Messick area, yes,
All
to the
of it.
south.
Yeah.
The detached one is still there.
Well,
It's
so
a
there's the goose deterrent system that we got a grant for, which
So what's
I feel like we have a whole lot less geese than we used to.
They don't like walking.
We used to have a lot of goose poop all over the place. And then there's the
Goose feet.
Messick Garden, which is over on the south end of the park.
Okay.
And that's been in place now for several years, and we have had staff kind of clearing that out.
But there's not standing water in there regularly in that spot.
No, it's more of like a filter
Right.
to slow things down, and then it eventually finds its way to the river. So, but yes, Janet, that would be much appreciated. And I think, I mean, granted, costs change over time, of course, but that's about a rough ballpark number to expect.
Yeah,
I would
that's pretty
say.
close to what I remember, and I would say it's probably within $50 to $100 of that now, for no more than we have.
I can do it. See what they say.
So, and then we'll reach out to, try to get a hold of somebody to try to start maintaining that pond in a little neater fashion. Because Heartland won't go into to the actual waterway, they go up to the edge of it, so.
Our
We have
association.
someone that
probably-
does all of
James.
Lionsgate. He comes in regularly. Do you
So,
know those?
Yes, I believe Aquatic Management is the
Neil
company that we
Rivers.
went with. I'm trying to remember. Pond Champs, we just had the annual meeting. Pond Champs, I believe, is the quote that we also got. It was a little bit more than Aquatic Management was. So yes, I believe we went with Aquatic Management.
There's a retention pond in my office, and I don't know how they keep that as nice as they do. It's crazy. I have to see who does it, but
The one for Lionsgate's ponds, which we have 4.
Three?
Or only 3. There's the two, well, there are 2 separate ones technically in the Baroness on the very south end. They've got the divider. And then there's the one up by Rolling Oaks too, right? Yeah. And I want to say it was like $5,700 or something
yeah,
like that.
pretty good sized ponds.
So, I mean, they're in the area, a lot of those guys are coming up and down Swartz, it will not take much for them to jump in there,
Here and
you
there.
know.
I said we had problem with pond champs in Cedar Lake, and
Yeah.
so they,
Oh,
yeah, they just, last year they decided, so we have a new company this year, and I'm not sure who it is,
Oh,
but
is that who they put-
they just could not keep up with the algae and the.
Yeah.
So like what David said with the carp would help you, the algae
They
and
will,
their stuff?
yeah, you can do natural things, but then you gotta make sure, you gotta be careful how much water's flowing through, and so, cause those carp, they won't, reproduce unless they get enough water flow, and then they'll try to reproduce. So that's another no-no, because they're actually an invasive as well to the downstream system. So
Okay. The fish are.
yes, so we got to make sure whatever we do fits within DNR and what they'll allow.
Right.
So
Tyler, you're willing to get a quote for that?
yeah, we'll work on getting it
Okay.
through and get it squared away. I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware that, you know, that we got these issues going on and we need to figure this stuff out. I'll work with
Agreed.
Janet and Angela, and we'll try to establish budget lines and make sure we know where the funds are coming from.
Okay.
Have a plan in place.
Any other questions?
The goose return. Is that what Heartland does? They just do the outside, the goose return?
The goose turn around the pond, and then the Messick area
Okay.
over to the south.
Dry, anything dry.
Dryish.
Or,
Yeah, dryish.
Not in the pond itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Originally, when they put it in, the man said to us, we really would recommend a 5-year plan where we come up for 5 years, and after that, we will pretty much have it to where it's self-maintaining. And after the 3rd year, our maintenance guys were like, we can do it. And they weren't happy with the guys, like I said, they were pulling some of the good plants, and they were pulling some of the sawgrasses, and they're like, they didn't like it, so we took it over ourselves, but then that was 3 maintenance people.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Any other questions for Tyler or Janet on these items? Okay. Going on to new business. So I know last month, right before the meeting, I had mentioned to everyone that I wanted to, since it's been several years now, I was looking back through emails since 2021, that we had the license agreement administration policy. And it was also the last time we actually put together the full park license agreements for the Cedarville Park building. I know there's a couple of different items in here. One is the discount, the rental maximization discount that we put in here. The limited use agreements. I just would like to ask Janet for kind of a summary of what we had for that in 2024 as far as how many times we had a limited use rental. I know, having been involved in the homeowners association now for Lionsgate, we've been meeting over at Grable, at the Grable Library, because it's free. I know we just had our annual meeting over here. When we proposed it, we were thinking that, we'd get, maybe a couple dozen groups maybe having things throughout the year. But if we're not having that many groups taking advantage of it, it's something that I'd like to float the idea of maybe just the town subsidizing that for making it a public use, for kind of the public good, perhaps. We have a really low rate on it, though. We were only doing $20 an hour, and that was basically to cover the cost of cleaning it for Tom to come in. So, but anyhow, I just wanted to ask Janet for some data on that for 2024.
we do Pioneer Village 3 times a year. Okay, so that they pay us 43 times a year. We do Mateo twice a year. We do Cedar Canyons at least twice, if not 3 times a year. They had a big project come up, so they booked us a 3rd time last year. Those are probably our major people. Lionsgate, hit or miss. I think 2 times Lionsgate, 1 last year, 1 this year. So that, like you said, that's hit or miss. We don't really count on them. Other HOAs that we've had the one that's they're not even Cedar at all, Cedarville, but they are in Leo. They are up off of Old Auburn Road. When you go up, across the bridge, that one area up there, there's 27 houses. I think that might be Cedar Canyons. They use us twice a year every year.
Okay.
Their kids all go to Leo, but they're not actually in Cedarville.
Gotcha.
They use us here.
So we wrote it in the limited use license agreement. A club, foundation, community association, not-for-profit corporation, or unincorporated association that is organized for civic, charitable, benevolent, scientific, or educational purposes. So are there many other groups besides HOAs really that are fitting that bill?
Yoga is 4 times. But that's not an organization, I'm sorry, that's a private. it's a
Well,
private rental.
yoga though too is, does she do that for free or does she charge people for that?
No, that's
Okay.
a regular session.
That's a, yeah, okay.
Right, you
Yeah.
book, you pay for 4, and then she stops, and then you pay for 4, and then she stops. Then she has meditation once a month for 3 months,
Mhm.
and then she stops, and then she does her yoga. It's kind of a very, she's been with us for 4 years. It's very continuing for her as far as when she gets interest, she starts a group.
That's going through the main.
She does the same thing, she books for 2 hours. Her yoga is 60 minutes, but she always sets up and then she tears down.
And it's
So
$40?
She pays $40.
Well,
Where does it
okay.
fit underneath the license?
So that's a great question because I don't think the
She's technically
yoga,
for-profit, right?
yeah, she's doing it for profit.
Yeah, but we don't, there's no cleanup with her. They put their yoga mats down.
That's not the point. The point
Yeah.
is it
She doesn't fit
conforming
the
to the
rounds.
license?
Yes.
And if we do, we need to modify the license if that's the case.
Because she's not scientific, HOA, whatever, she doesn't fall into those groups.
Or not.
Civic, charitable,
Not profit.
benevolent, scientific, or educational purposes. But I wasn't thinking of yoga because I thought we were doing that under the main agreement. Because it's a commercial, more of a commercial nature. It was not for the not-for-profit, but we can
What time
sort
of
that
day does she
issue
do
out
it?
separately.
Generally, the people show up at 6 and they leave at 7.
Okay, so the big question is, are we turning down other
No.
renters?
No.
She always calls me the month before, or 2 months before and says, what do you have for Tuesdays in March? And I go, nothing.
Oh, so it's Tuesdays, okay.
Tuesdays, oh yeah, it's Tuesdays, sorry.
Other than the park board.
Yeah.
No, she's not had any competition for the Monday nights. Yeah.
But it's good because here's what I'll tell you what happens.
Mhm.
Somebody will call me on Thursday and go, I just was at a yoga on Tuesday night and saw you for the first time, and I want to have my daughter's baby shower there in March. And I go, well, okay. And then I call Laura and thank her for the sending somebody to my way. We probably have gotten, I would say in 4 years, probably at least 10 rentals for baby showers and birthday parties from yoga. So,
Where they've actually rented?
oh yeah, absolutely. When they sit there in their yoga and they look around and Laura does talk it up to them and tells them all about how the features and everything. Yes, then they call and they rent.
How many
So
people does she usually get? in
She
a
does,
month?
she does 6.
Okay.
She likes small groups of just 6 and she doesn't do any more.
It's a
than
nice
that.
service to have in this area. I didn't even know
Right.
there was something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we add physical fitness to the education
I'm fine.
with the
I'm fine
license? If we add physical
Modifying the
fitness-
language, yes.
Well, civic,
Um,
civic,
Mental health? or-
Going to the bigger question
yeah,
though,
well,
besides yoga then,
Okay.
are there any other entities you can recall
that want it.
for 2024 that have used the limited use? Or have those basically just been the two, yoga and the HOAs?
Well, the cookie lady originally booked me for Easter, for March, to do an Easter a 2-hour cook thing with children. She used to do that once in a while. She'd have the kids come over, pre-bake the cookies, and she'd do it. And she just called and canceled and said she didn't have enough, there weren't enough people to sign up for it, so she canceled. But she, Amy, her name's Amy,
Must be awesome.
she's done it, I know, she's done it probably 3 times in the last 4 years and had a real nice little time. She, you drop your kids off, pick them up 2 hours later, and they come home with 4 cookies they made.
So what if someone wants to charge then for pickleball lessons at Riverside under a physical fitness thing?
Well, that would be
For profit?
that would be separate from the from the Cedarville Park building.
So that's only for that,
Which
that's
is-
only for the Cedarville Park?
Yes, this
that
was
license?
only
Okay.
for the Cedarville Park
I'm
building.
just
and
saying,
it would
once
put
you
that
start
limited
opening,
use.
who else is gonna wanna say, hey, I could do that there?
Well, I will tell you that every year somebody calls and says, hey, we want to book the volleyball nets on Wednesday night from
Right.
6 to 10. We'd like to book them, what would you charge? And I've talked to their before and it's like, we don't do that. They are open to the public 24, I mean, whenever they're open, and we do not reserve.
So, get
So-
there early.
Bless
Unless we had a league approach us, and we've tried to
Right.
do that at least twice in the past. Some people approach us. That would talk about the early years of the park. Fair Play Volleyball was one, and I'm trying to remember if River City or something like that approached us about trying to get a league out here. But that was the only reason we were willing to entertain in the past actually reserving the volleyball courts and
Well, how
now
do we-
like the pickleball
How do
courts
we
or anything.
modify the license agreement, just voting here?
So what I would like to do is to make an actual revision, send this out to everyone, see if
Okay.
we all agree with the proposed language, and then we would
Okay.
adopt it at the
Okay,
meeting.
that sounds good.
So are you
Um,
saying you wanna change the $40?
No.
Well,
it's-
so
She's
that's
saying
that's
some
two
other-
separate items. So
Right.
if we only have, if traditionally we've had basically this Amy Bakes,
Yeah.
okay, our steering committee member that we had on the
Yep.
on
Envision
the
plan.
yeah. So if Amy Bakes, yoga, and HOAs are the only items that we have, do we want to continue this limited use license agreement as it is with the $20 per hour? Do we want to carve out HOAs, or do we want to just
$5 an hour?
do we want to keep it exactly the way it is, except for modifying the language so that yoga or activities of that sort would be authorized under limited use? The vibe I was getting from everyone was that we would just want to modify the language so that way the yoga
Would
could
it be
use
included
the
in
limited
that?
use.
So the question is yoga include under education?
No,
I-
we're gonna modify it.
Well, but is
Oh,
it,
could
not- it's already, is it, to me, it's, if you're offering instruction,
So
Yeah.
like, it's probably vague enough that you could probably get away with not
Right.
messing
Well,
with
Cindy,
it.
is
too
that-
much.
whole thing
that's
is
the
to make
purpose.
anything
Well,
educational?
so real quick, that's the purpose, but it's supposed to be a club, foundation, a communitization, not-for-profit corporation, or
Right.
unincorporated association. So you'd have to revise
That
that
portion.
portion.
That's
as well.
right.
Because she's paying for it. Now, if she was just doing a class for free, because there's money involved, I think that's where we need to alter
Yes.
it. If she was just showing us how to do yoga, then that would
Right.
fall
Or
into
with
the
the cookie
realms.
lady.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Is
a
it
good
ready?
point.
So would you guys consider possibly doing like, someone comes in and wants to use it for an hour, are we really paying for our maintenance, our fees?
We have a 2-hour minimum, we've never done it for an hour.
So you have a
It's
2-hour
terrible.
minimum?
But yoga requires no maintenance at all, and the only time HOAs require any maintenance at all is in the winter. If Tom's got to wipe up a mess from the floor. But
Well,
other
we
than
can
that,
change it to $25 an hour, it's not gonna, kill anybody.
Well, I mean, some
I
of
mean,
it too has
it's-
just been,
it's
the
almost
time for
totally-
someone to come in, either to interact with Shannon, she has to do all the paperwork. There's some of that.
Oh,
as
there's,
well,
sure, that's
but,
what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to make a profit, just make sure you're covered in your costs, I
Right.
guess. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily profit driven, but
okay.
when Tom goes down there to clean, I think he charges 15 minutes.
I was just about to say 15 minutes or 30 minutes or even
Yeah,
short,
yeah,
yes.
he charges up
Depends on how
15
much work he
minutes,
has.
so.
Mhm.
But you also have to remember, you have that, you have the taxes that we pay.
Electricity.
on him,
Yeah.
the electricity,
Yeah.
the cleaning supplies involved, your time involved, the paperwork involved, there's a lot more than just,
and I think it's getting used enough, we probably need to, in general, the park is getting used enough, we probably need to look at deep cleaning it quarterly. Cause I went down before our meeting the other night, the Envision meeting, and spent 45 minutes before anybody else got there,
Clean.
cleaning cobwebs out of lights and cleaning windowsills and like really deep cleaning the place.
We're going back to the point where we don't want to lose Tom, but his vision is deteriorating.
Is it really?
well, but also, the other thing that's sad about losing Tom is you are not going to find somebody.
You can't afford anybody else.
Yeah.
You can't afford somebody.
So I agree, because I don't know if you remember, but you guys paid me $50 one time, and me and my girlfriend went in there, and we completely degreased and cleaned the kitchen, we did the cobwebs, we did the whole entire place, and it was like spotless when we left. So I mean, I don't do that again, but I'm saying, yes, so we each of us.
I mean, I did the upper windowsills
So,
and then I quickly opened the doors to make sure that it cleared out before anybody else got there because it was so dusty.
Dusty.
Like, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like huge
Well, we'll have
dust
to find
bunnies.
another Tom someday. I mean,
oh, don't say that.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
someday,
I know.
I mean, you have to, it's a
I mean, like I said, I'm not looking at replacing him. I just think that it's getting
Right.
such a high volume of use. We probably need to look at spending
Cleaning service.
to come in and pull the trash and wipe and mop the floors quickly and dust mop and that
Right.
fits what he's doing. To actually come in and do a deep clean of the facility, I think is outside of what Tom is what
As
we're,
well.
what we're expecting him to do right now. Does that make
There's some
sense?
really good Amish.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
There's
My
come in
Amish,
and-
my Amish crew, there's $20 an
But I'm saying though, as we start
Yeah.
figuring this stuff out, as you guys start reviewing this stuff, remember that even though they make, like the yoga does not necessarily take a cleanup
Right.
crew,
Right.
you still gotta pay for other things that are going
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
That
And
sounds
how
like
about
a good idea.
the bug contract?
Right. So.
Okay.
I mean, $25 an hour, if we decide to increase it a little bit, isn't gonna kill anybody.
No, and I've done it twice, and I don't wanna do it anymore, cause I can't get online.
No, I'm saying for them to use it, raising it from $20 and $25 an hour.
Over the HOAs?
Yeah, or any of these.
Okay.
I mean, just, that's not gonna kill anybody. I mean, where are they gonna get that kind of space for $25 an hour?
How many years has it been since you had an increase? I'm just curious, I really don't know.
I was
We used
on
to
the board.
charge 10, and then we went to 15, and then we went to 20.
Yeah, so,
Mhm.
that's how it goes.
The last contract. was-
2021
Yeah,
is
was-
the last time I can recall where we
Yeah.
actually put this limited use agreement together and we did $20.
Yeah, so that's
So.
a long time.
Okay.
So are we agreeing to
So
increase the
I
25
will
an hour?
modify this paragraph
Yeah.
to put in some language that we think captures yoga and entities of the sort, and $25 an hour then.
I think it's a good
That
idea.
seems reasonable.
Doesn't it?
I don't know, I don't know, like, he's on the HOA, I mean, is that gonna make them not wanna come to our place?
$10?
15? Okay.
We've only been doing it for our annual meeting.
They've
Yeah.
had $5 houses, I don't think they're
and-
gonna worry about $10.
And
That's the hat.
I'm fine with it.
Right.
I mean, honestly, the Grable Library, it's I mean,
Free.
south side of town, Grable, it's not that much further, and it's also a smaller room, which is perfect for what we do for it.
Yeah.
It's only the annual meeting where we have, 30, 40, 50 people that we just need some more space, so, okay. All right,
Sounds good.
I will make those revisions and then shoot out a draft of that to everyone. The separate item that came up as part of that discussion, the deep cleaning on a quarterly basis.
Can you get some quotes?
I was just about to say, yes, if you want to get some quotes, Janet, and or David, if you know some people, if you want to send them Janet's way, maybe they're the same people.
We had a lady give us a quote for deep cleaning this place once a year, and she was really nice. She has two ladies that come with her, the three of them, and she charges 20 for herself, but she pays her help 15, and they work fast and hard, so.
I would think you can do it once a month. No? As dirty as you said it was.
I've only been in this,
It hasn't been
it's-
done since I did it last September.
Right.
I've been in this job a very short amount of time, so I don't wanna say yes, but I would say quarterly for sure, maybe
Every other month?
every other month would not be bad. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we get them these girls, we get them every 2 weeks. And they,
At your house or at work?
What's your
House.
What's your house?
and they spend 4 hours for $80. But I drive them there and back. But if you
Yeah.
hire them, I would just get them after our, line them up on a day when they're here,
Right.
take them there, and then take them home.
I believe in incrementalism, so how about we start with quarterly, and if that's not getting
Right,
the job
but
done,
do it
then
once
we'll
and see
move
how
on.
it looks, right?
Yeah.
Right, I'm not saying every 2 weeks, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I could have them do it, and they'd probably say $25 an hour, but they could be 2 of them, and
So we'll
look
start
what it
there.
took you,
Right.
and they'll,
We
No,
did-
Yeah, and I didn't do it
Nice.
perfectly by any means, Dave. I just was like,
right, but still,
I didn't do something while I'm standing here, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
as long as there's products there to clean with, well, you can help
There is
coordinate
everything.
that.
There's- Everything you need is there.
A ladder to get, how'd you get up to those things? You use a little,
There's a big tall, they have like an extendable dust
Okay.
mop kind of thing there, which we need to probably look at replacing some of that
well,
stuff.
if you want me to check with them, let me know.
And then
If they wanna just try, do it,
I think-
spring cleaning.
I mean, that,
If you want to send, I would say send your names to Janet,
Yeah.
and
and I think
Janet.
while we're doing it, we
Yeah,
might as
yeah.
well just have them out on Riverside, like Ruster's there to do it
Alright,
once, that probably needs to be done once a month.
you could pick, would you?
That's
go
pretty
pick 'em up?
disgusting over at
Yeah,
Riverside.
that's not-
I don't know if you guys ever been in there after a hard day of play, it's a little rough, so.
Remember, I used to drive around.
Like, again, I'm not,
Hot.
Tom's going in, pulling the trash cans, pulling the diapers out, doing that kind of stuff, but, swashing the toilets, but probably needs to do some deep cleaning just to make sure we're,
I need a copy for everyone. Since it's been several years, I might as well pass them out.
Thank you.
And then Tyler, this for you. And then if you want to pass that down to Jana.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then she works in the hospital.
That's for Janet.
That was in
Here's yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet, for that information on the limited use license agreement. That was very helpful. The rental maximization discount, I was assuming that you wouldn't be able to pull some numbers off the top of your head here tonight. So I would like to know how many times we offered a discount and to what degree it was. And maybe, honestly, would that be something in the revenue report as far as itemized?
When you say a discount, what do you mean?
So we have the language in here that
Offer discounts. I mean,
the discounts provided in this section are not
Yes.
applicable for limited use. As a means of soliciting rentals from interested parties,
Oh, I see what you're
these
talking
discounts
about,
will not
yeah.
be advertised to the public and no preferential treatment should be given when offering discounts. They can be 10% within 1 week of the desired rental period, 25% within 3 days, or 50% the day
I can
prior.
answer this question really well.
Okay,
One time in 2024.
okay.
And that happened one time. And how that happened was a lady called with illness and canceled her party on a Saturday. A lady had asked about it like on Monday and said, oh gosh, I really don't want to have it in my house. The weather's really bad. I called that lady and I said, look, the lady just canceled for Saturday. I said, and it was like a 4 to 10. I said, would you take it for half price and short notice? And she said, yes. Boom, one time. So
Okay.
generally, I mean, it's great that we do that just for that instance, because I didn't lose the rental. But one time in 2024, I did that, and I probably.
And you're
would've
still
had
making
to.
money,
What?
and you're still making money,
We still,
so.
yeah, we still got $145, but I mean, it's just that I did it once. Is that good, Amy?
Yes, that's a good answer. Do we need to have the different levels, or do we want to just do one level? I'm assuming if it was the day prior, that was a 50% deduction then?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it was pretty much like, I just said
Sure.
to her, I said, you know, here's the deal, I just had a cancellation date, and I hate to lose the rental. And she'd already decided to have it at her house, but then she was like, no, that's perfect. And again, like Amy said, we still made money.
Right.
And it would have been a $290 rental, but we still got half of that, which I.
Well, I like the idea of giving a discount because you're still making
So I
revenue.
mean, as far as changing language, I don't think you have to change the language, because it's only happened to me one time in 2 years. So I think you can leave it alone, but that way if it happens again in 2025, at least.
Is there a way that we can capture, should be capturing this data differently? So that way we know, like we can say, hey, we rented 150 times all day, 400
Or
times.
partial day, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Limited, like I don't know, I'm just trying to, not that I wanna add more data collection, but I think
That's why I wondered if on the revenue report,
that's
if
not
you
how.
had itemized like individual pay, and not
She
necessarily,
receives all of the stuff, so I have no idea when I get the deposit slip from her. It'll say the name, Cedarville Pavilion, the date, the dollar amount. I have no idea.
well, so the dollar amount, I mean, it should be consistent. So like if it's a half day rental, it should be the same dollar amount all the time. If it's a
No,
full,
necessarily.
and depending on the day of week,
If
sorry.
no, if you live in Lionsgate, it's $250. If you don't live in Leo, it's
Sorry.
$290.
One of
So-
two numbers,
Right.
either the resident rate or the
And
non-resident
if
rate.
you rent on a Wednesday, you rent the full day on a Wednesday for a birthday party in the summer, it's a different price than it would be if you rented on a Friday, Saturday,
So there are
Sunday.
differences.
Yes.
Well, not Sunday,
Yeah,
just Friday or Saturday.
yeah, Friday, Saturday, but it's
Yeah.
still different than those prices, so, yeah.
It should be a consistent range unless there's a discount offered. So it'd be like one of 8 values or something like that. And so,
I think the
Well,
collection
look
side
at
would
this.
be easier to input that data in an Excel sheet
okay.
versus the revenue side after it's already been deposited, right? So if we're gonna go that route, I think it'd be easier for us to do it in Janet's office saying, this falls in this category. We can just have a total at the end of the year and we know.
In 2024, we rented every single Sunday but 3. We did not rent Father's Day, we did not rent Mother's Day, and we did not rent Easter. So those are the 3 Sundays in 2024 we did not rent. I tried really hard. And this year, I have Father's Day rented for a Father's Day party for a woman who's inviting her dad, her father-in-law, her kids' fathers-in-law, and she's gonna do a big Father's Day party. That's the first time we will have rented Father's Day. Mother's Day is really a no-go. That's because moms
So you
will
take
work, it's
restaurant,
Mother's
yeah,
Day.
they don't wanna work.
Right.
Easter,
So, and Easter, like this coming Easter, some lady called me about Easter and I said, I will work with you any way you want for Easter. They only wanted 2 hours for an after-church deal. And then after she got done talking, she goes, no, because everybody's going out to eat after Easter.
Yeah.
And so nobody wanted to come to her party. So those,
Aw.
other than that, 2024, those 3 days consistently are the only days. Even if Christmas falls on a Sunday, we still rent it.
I think it'd still be good to start collecting, like, if we're gonna make informed decisions, you need data points to make those decisions. And I mean, just because we brought in $40,000 or $50,000 doesn't mean we know
where and when.
where, when, and how, and why. So, I mean,
Different than like our ILPs, and
Right.
she brings those in, she enters them, so do the same thing with
Yes.
all the park stuff.
I mean, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I mean, what I'm driving at, Janet, is we've had these dollar amounts, we've had ranges, we have revenue, but is there a way that we could be maximizing some more revenue? So like we did the Monday through Thursday, so we had it as Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday through Thursday. And then based on interest, to try to encourage some more Sunday rentals, we took and put Sunday in at the Monday through Thursday lower price than Fridays and Saturdays.
We do Sundays, right? We do Sundays for $300
Yes.
for the whole day, and we only do them. And also, too, you got to remember, that's the only day Tom has off, is Sunday. Otherwise, before that, when we used to do half a day on Sunday and half a day at night, Tom was working 7 days a week, every single day between 2 and 4. Then he was going back down to Riverside and Cedarville at night, and he never had a day off. So by doing Sundays, that guarantees him that Sunday afternoon
So
is
Sunday,
off, and he doesn't.
we only had, you said in 2024, only 3 that we didn't rent.
Right.
Monday through Thursday, I would love to see more rentals
Right.
Monday through Thursday.
So discount those.
So is that something where we want to
We
revisit that
discounted to
price?
$120, and
For
we
a
do.
partial day, yes.
Yeah, we do okay as far as like when people call, we never lose anything for the price, that's not the issue. A lot of it just is
Nobody has anything.
people will just say, I can't get any friends together, I had a lady call, wanted to do a regular euchre once a month, and after she talked to everybody, she couldn't get a group together to do it, she said, I mean, and it wasn't the money, that had nothing to do with it,
Okay.
she just said, I just can't get people during the week that wanna do anything. Now, we do memorials during the week, anytime anybody passes away, they always call, a lot of people call me regularly, we wanna do a memorial at
Right.
Leo-Cedarville because my dad died in Leo, or my dad lived in Leo his whole life, or my dad used to live in Spencerville. And we'll do that, and they don't balk at the price at all, and I tell them,
No.
Wednesday's 120. So, we do that, and that's a fair price, because they come in, they sit around, it's generally older people, they talk, they visit, and they don't have
They're
access
out
to
and
TV, they don't know any of that, they just come in, sit, talk, visit, and then the women from the church bring the carry-in food,
So
and then they leave, and it's
people,
never
you say
less.
only old people come because they're next.
No,
Someone told me that. Everybody comes to funerals are the next in line.
So, and that's always been a very.
I don't want to
nice
be the
thing.
next in line.
It's a very easy cleanup for Tom, because, believe it or not, older people really know how to clean and leave things nice and really
Yeah,
decent, so it's
respect.
never a problem, yeah, very much so,
And that taping on the wall and
yeah,
leaving balloons up.
so.
So I'll ask the question another way, Janet. In terms, if it's separate from logging something separately, your calendar book that you have for reservations, that would have all the details as far as like this date, this time.
Every single
Okay.
year of the last 4 years, the book has every entry in it.
So I think maybe I asked this
You could apply
last
that
year or
to
something
a-
like that. Has the 2024 book gone up to the attic or
No,
wherever
it's
it was?
still- No, the reason why it's
Okay.
still in my office is because the back of it has my address contacts in the back.
Okay.
I haven't photocopied them and transferred them into the 2025 book yet.
Would it be possible to have that scanned
Mhm.
and
Oh,
email a
absolutely.
copy of that to me?
And do a
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
because I mean, it'd be great, to do something, like that maybe going forward. But I'd really like to take a look at
right,
a full
100%.
year.
And I
throughout
think
the
going
accounts.
forward, one of the things that we need to make sure, like, I'll be honest, one of my goals, and I know I'm gonna make Janet angry,
Oh, you're gonna make me really angry.
that's all to say it.
The fight.
I would like to take the book, like, at least the calendars, to an online state. Not necessarily booking in an online state, but the calendars to an online state. So that way, like it came up today, like if we're plowing, we have to plow. Like right now, I go in, I open the book. Oh, yep, she has rentals all 3 days this weekend. I need to let Brian know that he needs to be in there to plow. Whereas if it was an online calendar where he could go in and go, oh yeah, it takes the middle person out of it. So,
Or salt.
Oh, yeah. It's
Okay,
the
so-
same thing with my wife. She got her planner.
Right.
And I've tried to get her on, hey, Google Calendar.
Drive,
Yeah.
Yes.
calendar.
Yeah, we can see
it
each
tells
other's
me when I'm not
calendars.
here. You know what I mean? So,
That part doesn't bother me, because I
Okay.
do make copies for everybody, and I give one to Angela, I give one to the maintenance guys, I have one in my office, I give one to Tom, I give one to Don, I give one to Brian. Everybody's got one, okay, so that doesn't bother me. What he's gonna lead to up next really bothers me, because I'll tell you what happens. Somebody goes online and looks and sees that the 19th is not available, and they just move on to Matea, and they move on to Grable.
They can see online that it's not available?
No, I'm saying this is what
Okay.
happens, because this is what happens in Fort Wayne.
Well, no, they're not doing that. He's talking about for staff.
Yeah, but this is what he's gonna tell you about.
eventually, I would like to get to a point,
So,
Oh, they could go on and book it
Right.
on.
not book, see the calendar.
yeah, and
Kind
that's
of like a
fine.
hotel.
But the booking part, so a lady calls me, she goes, I looked at Fort Wayne's and there's nothing available for Saturday at all of the month that I want. And I said, hey, have you ever thought about having a Sunday party? And she goes, no. I said, let me tell you about our Sunday parties. And I explained to her how 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., we take care of the sign, how, people can come and go. It's a wonderful open house. We have tons of parking lot. We got the playground for the kids right there. Parents can keep an eye on them. That sounds great. Let me go to Sunday instead. I'll change my thoughts and I won't do a Saturday. That's what you get when you have salesmanship versus people that just go online and go, oh, Saturday's not available. I'll just go look someplace else. I never lose anyone with salesmanship. And that's what I like about this position, is that when I take them down to show them a tour, I get them. When I talk to them online.
But they still have to call you, Jana, anyways, like if they see you.
Right.
They
Right.
call, they email me.
And then you
Yeah,
can
but she's
do
saying they might not even call if they say it's not available, I'm out.
But if they see Sundays open, they may.
they might call you, and then you can
No,
lay
because-
on your salesmanship.
So-
Because you lead people. You really do lead people. You lead people to think a different way. You lead people to graduation parties. Every Friday's booked in May and June. You lead people to understand that Friday evening, less competition for your graduation party because everybody has a party on Saturday.
So you're saying when I book mine, I need to book it on Sunday, so there's less competition and
Best way to
cheaper?
do it. And cheaper.
Friday
And
night.
cheaper?
But I'm just saying, those are the
That's,
things.
we did
you
that
do.
to encourage rentals on Sundays
I
because
am-
it was the higher rate and we weren't getting many rentals.
I am for personal contact. I think we're losing that as a society and we just need to have more personal contact.
I think the first step is we just need to get it to a place where we can all view it in
Right.
real time,
Staff.
right? So if Brian's out plowing, he can pop up on his calendar. The rest of it is
I
neither
mean,
here
it's
nor
not
there.
overloading you, it's not
Oh, no,
burdening you.
I print it out anyway, and I give everybody a printout copy.
No, I'm saying the
But I mean, as far as-
conversations.
Yeah, as far as loading, as
It's
far as
not
putting
burning.
online, no, the salesmanship thing is what I think has zoomed us up from when we used to make 11 to
Right.
now we make 65. I really do. I mean, I think that's a lot of it, is salesmanship, being able to get people to.
That you're an
think
awesome
different way.
salesperson.
No, she's gonna want a commission next. That's-
No,
I am.
Well,
But then if I
there
Angela-
must be
So-
something to be said about that, because if you,
Right.
are doing something for a wedding,
Right.
in any of the other facilities, you can't find any information unless you call them.
Right.
Right.
And then
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
you can't look at any kind of, when you're booking venues, so I could see that. But for staff, I
Yes.
definitely
You
see
see
that
what's up.
everybody's on the same page.
Same page, easy to look at. And the only reason
Yeah.
is I know we've been short maintenance, but we've had a couple almost oopsies in the last month and a half that we scrambled and were able to make sure we had it salted and maintained for them, but it was like 5 o'clock at night. It started at 5:30 and we're down there trying to shovel the sidewalks real quick. So,
I concur with the online calendar for the internal purposes. I think that makes all the sense.
Yeah.
But I agree with Janet on not posting the availability
Right.
Yeah,
online.
I think you'd see our sales go down huge compared to what we had.
I think Cindy, I've heard a similar statement from you. David, I think I've heard a similar statement from you. And Amy, or you have, so the consensus of the board, I
right.
would say, is that.
Like I said, my goal is to get it online for internal purposes only.
Right, it's
you know
internal,
what I mean?
definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I need to go.
I was done. So,
Just,
that was the
I
one
just
agenda item
I
I
just
wanted to
looked
talk
at
about
that.
tonight, so.
yeah.
Okay, is there any further business before the board? Ben? Yes, Angela?
I just have one thing.
Yeah.
Can we please strongly consider moving to just credit card only? I know you hate that idea, but it goes back to the whole, we've had this discussion before, we've got damage and stuff that's been done at Cedarville, and we're not going back after the people for money. There's things that are getting stolen from Cedarville, we don't go back after people for the money, number two, and then it's just less cash handling, it's less money that is having to be passed through, it's less running through the bank doing deposits, it's a security kind of thing.
I was gonna ask Janet this separately, but the license agreement itself, I know it has the credit card authorization
I don't
form.
know, I couldn't do it.
And the intent behind that was that we always got, even if they were paying by some other method, we got the credit card authorization, so that way they, if they did have
Mostly
jams.
they don't return the key and they do the damage.
Okay. Are we getting this form on every single rental?
Yes, I did.
Not 100%,
But- oh, I did.
People
I
tell me
did.
that they do not give out their credit card information, so
Okay.
I don't force it, but 50% of probably our
Thank you, David.
rentals are check, and they're from people that are probably over 40. The other percentage of our rentals are credit cards or debit cards, and those are for the people under 40.
And see, I do it because I figure if you write a check, that whoever you're writing it to
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
have to
your-
pay 3%
That's right.
Right.
And that's-
to
and
do it,
that's-
so it's like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
saving
And that's
them
pretty
if
much
I write a check, but
That's
I'm
the
older.
40 and over crowd, definitely.
Oh, because nonprofit.
Yeah, the consumer pays the
Right.
percent.
They
The
pay
accountant's
3%.
not responsible.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a $300 rental, you know, you're gonna pay $9.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when I say we charge 3%, they go, I'll just give you a check.
But the thing, okay, and the thing
Yeah.
with that, with the 3%, I'd rather just pay the 3%,
And
because
you're,
if you,
you're under 40.
I'm not under 40, but thank you. But if you figure your time
Yeah.
and your gas coming here,
No, they don't, they just
No.
pop in the mail.
okay.
Every day we get.
Mine was a limited use rental, for the HOA, it was $40, I had 220s in my pocket, it was very simple and convenient.
But, so the thing is
But
that,
yes.
What it is some of these people rent, and Janet, you know this has happened, some of these people rent, and their rental has come and gone, and they still haven't paid.
Oh.
Like, they're paying.
Oh,
just-
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Oh, no,
They're paying just before the fact, or they're paying the day of the
Oh.
rental.
yeah,
And
no, sometimes they will pay.
well, is there
definitely.
also like a cancellation, like if I say I'm booking something, is there, if they don't pay and they don't give you proper
They don't get the key.
cancellation?
They don't get, it's very simple. If you
No,
don't
what
pay,
I'm
they don't
saying
get
is,
the key.
let's say I'm a week out, unless it's, you know, like a funeral, death,
Yeah,
sickness or something. Do they have to pay a fee if they don't show up?
no, we just don't give, if they don't, well, first of all, they don't.
You know what I'm
give the
saying?
key.
Like if they
Yeah.
cancel, if they don't cancel
So-
within 48
We don't
hours.
have
there
to-
is a policy, a cancellation policy. If you've paid, and I don't have it, I'm sure Dirk has it.
I have it right here,
So you pay,
yes.
But these are, you're talking about people that just flat out don't pay me. They
Yeah.
don't show up to get the key because they haven't paid. That never happens. That doesn't happen. I've never had anybody come and say, I need my key, because they haven't paid yet. Because they know they haven't paid, they don't get the key. I call every single person Monday morning, and I go, hey Dusty, and these are people that have paid.
Yeah.
Hey Dusty, don't forget to come in this week and pick up your key. What's a convenient time for day? It's 2 or 3 weeks before that if someone hasn't paid. And here's what I say. I always have a waiting list of people that are interested in a date. Hey, you know, I'm real flexible if you get something come up. I call them and I say, hey, look, it's 3 weeks from your rental. I haven't received a payment. I have someone that's looking for your date. Can I get a payment? And the next day I have a payment. People don't want to lose it. But some people just procrastinate because it's money they don't want to spend. Very rarely does that ever happen, and I've never ever had anybody ever show up to get a key and has not paid me, ever.
What about return checks? I mean, do you
Have
have,
you had any this last year? None, no.
that's shocking.
I know.
But our clientele is a little bit.
Yes.
I hate to say
Yeah.
that, but our
Higher
clientele is
end.
a little bit, yeah, I mean.
What are we, 2% poverty rate up here?
Less than one.
Yeah, less than 1%, so.
And
But
we-
yes, there is a cancellation policy as well that says if you cancel within 90 days, you get a full refund.
30 days.
30
Rentals
days, sorry.
canceled 30 days or more in advance will
Yeah.
receive a full refund. No refunds are given for cancellations less than 30 days before the rental date unless the town is able to execute a license agreement with another party for the time period in which the licensee's canceled event was to occur. So,
Very few, COVID was one thing. We did have that COVID policy where if somebody called and said, hey, my kids have COVID and it's their birthday, we would let them schedule another day. And we
That
would even
makes
say, hey,
sense.
next year
Yeah.
call me on their third birthday,
Yeah.
and we'll get you in. So,
I mean, I'm trying to think of all the different things I do rentals for, and I feel like it's always, there's at least something up front. Whether it be like 25%, there's something that you have secured, and then, like, I'm thinking of like a VRBO or an Airbnb, and then like 1 month before is when you pay the remainder of the balance, or 2 months before, whatever it is for the specific property. But I feel like we should be taking money at the time of the rental or very, very shortly
we do, we give
thereafter.
everybody 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, they lose their rental. They never get
Okay.
more than 2 weeks. It's very clear to them when I talk to them. I will put you in the book in pencil, I need the check or the money from you within 2 weeks, otherwise I'll move to the next person. Everybody pays. Even if I don't have the next person, I do tell them that, I always
So
have a waiting list.
That example you gave where it was 3 weeks out, they came to talk to you 5 weeks before their proposed event.
She called me, the one little girl called me and she said, I'm running short on money. She goes, I can give you half, and my mom says she'll give you the half the other day. And I said, nope. I said, you get the money from your mom, you wait till you have the money and you bring it all into me one time. I said, we don't take partial payments. And she did. I mean, her mom wrote a check for half and she paid half. I mean, do I have to work with people occasionally? Once, twice, maybe the whole year. Most people, it's not an issue. When they're calling me to book, it's not an issue because
I didn't know Janet till, but I only knew her from renting, and she's a hardcore salesman. When I've rented it
She's
like
just
3 times.
hardcore in general. What
The
are you
way
talking
she
about?
tells you, I'm like, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
But I mean, I'm very careful to get, and Angela knows, well, it's all about getting the money in and getting it in the books and getting it.
Yeah.
I think what we're missing out though is we're not going back after these people who are doing damage to our facilities.
And
I could
I'll
see
say,
requiring
And
a
if
credit
you
card.
pay with check,
say
Yeah, when
now,
I paid with
Janet-
the check, I was like, I'm not giving my credit card. I just felt like I didn't need to. But I could definitely see just saying
If-
Right.
it's required for,
yeah.
if we're not going to do this with the credit card authorization, then we should have some type of a security deposit that they can get back. Because, I mean, the way we passed this policy was that this form is getting filled out every time and it's covering ourselves so that we have some means of recourse to go back on the person.
Well,
And we have the language in the contract, in the license agreement rather, saying that if this occurs, we can charge you for the damages, and it's not really the damages, it's the cost we incur to do that.
And I would
There's no
argue
profit.
that it needs to go one step farther. I don't want to say the cost we incur because that can balloon, right? So I would rather say, if you have incidentals, we're gonna charge you $150 or $200 or whatever it is, or half the cost of the
Well, it's
rental.
posted in the Cedarville Pavilion, it's posted right when you go in there.
Right, but we don't have
It
any, if you pay with check, we have no way of collecting against any of these people.
Well, I don't know, we've had 3 people in the last year that have paid by check that when I sent them a note telling them they owed us money, one guy paid us $150, another guy paid $50.
my son was one of them.
So I mean, we've had people come up honestly and admit
Yeah.
that they did it.
Right.
It's the ones where
We don't know it,
we
who
don't
did
know,
it,
yeah, because like,
because nobody's checking the pavilion.
well, the camera, if you don't tell me this, but the camera does not show the window over the kitchen. And that was one day we had somebody but how we taught them is because you watch them pick up the thing and walk towards the kitchen. And then when I called them, they admitted that they did it and they did pay for the damage, so. But I mean, you couldn't actually see them do it.
Couldn't you just put required for the credit card information?
Well, I can tell you,
Just-
Grable charges a fee.
Yeah, just-
They charge a fee, and then if you leave it perfectly, they send you a check back. But again, I keep going to the whole with Angela. Okay, so
That's a
we
lot
did,
of paperwork.
yeah, we 100 rentals, 110 rentals. If we charge $25 or $35, then every single time, it's fine to collect the money, but every single time.
You gotta mail it back.
Yeah.
We gotta go down there, on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock, check the place out. We can't rely on Tom because he doesn't see well. We would have to check the place out and go, oh, okay, call her. Then on Monday, I would give her the list and say, okay, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the place was fine, send them each back their $50. Then how much more does that burden Angela? Not me.
Well, but I think we need to go, that's what my point is if we collect the data and we can pull it up on a camera, we have damage. We go in and pull the footage up on Monday, and the damage isn't there on Saturday night, but it is there Monday morning. Then we know the damage happened on Sunday, right?
And that's great for the 3 walls. But we don't have.
What these
total
don't know is
of
I'm in the
yeah.
process of getting getting a quote for
Yeah.
updated cameras down there at some point. I just haven't got
So,
that far yet. It's in the works.
If this were a major issue and we had thousands of dollars of damage, I agree, but we have.
We
minimal.
have,
We have quite a bit.
yeah, technically we need to repaint all the walls down there and
It's patchwork.
Well,
It's all
that's not the people, I mean, we charge the people for the damage. The problem is when we went in to paint, they didn't match, they didn't use the exact paint that matched, so now you have these spots where you can tell that it's been painted. I mean, so.
So you're asking rental people to replace or
No, we
repaint that?
charge them, we charge
Okay.
them, if they rip off a spot, we charge them. But when our maintenance guys go in, if the
They didn't
paint
have
is
the right color
exactly match the paint, or they don't do
They
the
didn't pay
right,
attention.
you can see the spots, so.
the whole room.
They don't
is-
have the same can?
It's not.
What?
It's a job issue.
Right.
I wouldn't have made that mistake.
How much would we have charged them per nick on the wall?
We charge them $50 an hour. So
Okay.
when Brent went down there and he spent an hour sanding and doing the whole 9 yards,
Okay.
we tell him that they'll.
And see, and I would rather go to a flat rate. If you mess up, you're gonna owe us $150. I'm serious. I mean, like, that's how most places work. Like, there's just you're gonna get charged next if you mess up.
But you can just,
I
it
mean,
could be
that's-
the smallest accident of taking something off, but I mean,
Yeah.
That's what we have in the credit card authorization is, in such event that there's damage, cleaning arise, failure to return a key, the town will only charge the card for the amount necessary to cover the cost of cleaning or the cost of repair up to but not exceeding $150.
But I think you need to also add on your inventory of what's there, because you had drink things stolen from there, you had utensils stolen, towels
Well,
stolen,
the
like,
utensils.
there's things that just disappear and never come
We don't
back.
provide
This isn't-
those.
So this isn't against, what we're doing is we're trying to save the
Right.
town and the assets of the town and protect the assets of the town.
Yes.
This isn't against anything that's going on. We just gotta remember that the goal of this is to protect our assets. So, I mean, yes, occasionally something's gonna come up missing, but
And
if
holding
you leave, we
people
gotta cancel
I
it.
was just about to say,
It's just holding people accountable.
Yes.
If you're gonna take this food, you're gonna pay for it. If you're gonna take the.
And the problem with charging by the hourly rate, think of it this way. So if we figure it out, by the time we get a maintenance guy in there, it could be a month, 2 months later, by the time you get the full repair done, you're still charging them an estimate. And if I have to go in and say it's drywall work and paint work, I'm charging 2 to 3 hours. I mean, that's just, my estimate would be 2 to 3 hours.
seems like there's a lot of logistics, because
Yes.
it's like with utensils and towels, it's who's gonna go in and
Well, I
count
think they're
those
all
each.
donated anyway, we don't
Right.
buy any
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah.
They're all, everything that's, all the utensils and
Yeah.
all the towels and everything, and the hot pads and all that are all
Yeah.
donated. We don't, that's why I never get upset.
Yeah.
My sister just donated us 20-some utensils from her house.
But that's not the
Right.
point. The point
Right.
is people accountable.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you're
Right,
telling
right.
them it's okay to take this shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, right.
You know?
so,
Have
I
to
know
mute that one.
I know.
Amy,
Darn it.
Amy needs to take off, so we're not, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to discuss here, so we're not gonna be able to finish this conversation tonight. So I'd like to table this issue of the license agreement and the items with it then to our next meeting. And unless somebody really, really has something to say,